Another symbol of racism and oppression in the U.S. South has been removed. The city of Richmond, Virginia ordered a statue of Confederate General Stonewall Jackson pulled from its pedestal. It stood there for more than a century. Calls to remove monuments honoring Confederate history have grown in the wake of anti-racism protests across the U.S., with protesters pulling them down themselves worldwide. Confederate statues, monuments, and the Confederate flag are viewed as both symbols of pride and hate, and have represented a sharp political divide over racial equality in America. What happened in Virginia today and with the state flag of Mississippi earlier this week are major historic milestones to try and heal America's deep divide. Eric Sorensen reports.
Mississippi has flown this flag for more than 125 years, its Confederate emblem protected by the state's white majority.
36-14 it passes.
So it was shocking to see the Mississippi House and Senate both vote overwhelmingly to take it down once and for all. For some, mostly whites, the Confederate flag represents Southern pride.
That flag is flown for so many years, and it has a lot of good meaning to it and very little bad.
I think it needs to stay the same.
But for blacks and many others, it promotes the darkest racist sentiments in America.
I know firsthand what it feels like to see a Confederate flag and pretend it doesn't have a racist, violent, or oppressive overtone. It screams hate, and it hurts me to my core.
The flag was the emblem of the Confederate Army in the U.S. Civil War. It fought in part to keep slavery in America. Slavery was abolished, but attitudes and policies of segregation would persist. Wherever people protested against civil rights, this flag was usually there. 5 years ago, a white supremacist posed with the Confederate flag, then killed 9 black parishioners in a South Carolina church. Finally, South Carolina removed the Confederate flag from the grounds of its state house. And now, Mississippi is the last to act.
No justice, no peace.
The killing of George Floyd seems to have finally pushed Americans, even white Mississippians, to recognize the systemic racism that blacks have always faced in America.
This entire state is screaming for change. The nation is watching. They want to know what we as a state stand for.
From the toppling of romanticized statues of Confederate generals to removing racial stereotypes like Aunt Jemima products, the wave of change for racial justice has been strikingly public. NASCAR racing no longer associates itself with the flag, leaving it to its fans alone, who've long viewed it as part of their culture.
It's not a racial thing, it's a heritage thing.
But that's what's so important about Mississippi's decision. It's taking down a symbol of racial disharmony from the last highest official level in any state.
I knew we could not continue to operate under the negative pall of that flag. I knew we couldn't do that.
For many Americans, the Confederate flag in Mississippi held a place of prominence that it didn't deserve and will no longer have. Eric Sorensen, Global News.